The concepts of dependent and independent variables in scientific research. In scientific research, understanding the relationship between variables is crucial. Variables are any characteristics, numbers, or quantities that can be measured or quantified. In experiments, researchers manipulate some variables and observe the effect on other variables. These are known as independent and dependent variables, respectively. The independent variable is the variable that is manipulated or controlled by the researcher. It is the presumed cause in the cause and effect relationship being studied. The independent variable is independent of other variables in the study, meaning it does not change based on other variables. Key characteristics. Manipulated, the researcher changes or controls the independent variable. Cause, it is considered the cause in the cause and effect relationship. Example, in a study examining the effect of different amounts of sunlight on plant growth. Independent variable, amount of sunlight, e.g., 2 hours, 4 hours, 6 hours per day. The dependent variable is the variable that is measured and observed. It is the outcome or effect that researchers are interested in. The dependent variable is dependent on the independent variable, meaning its changes are what the researcher is interested in measuring. Key characteristics. Measured, the researcher observes and measures the dependent variable. Effect, it is considered the effect in the cause and effect relationship. Example, continuing with the plant growth study, dependent variable, growth of the plant, measured in height, number of leaves, biomass, etc. Example 1. Research question. Does a new drug reduce blood pressure in patients? Independent variable, the drug, administered or not administered. Dependent variable, blood pressure levels of the patients. Explanation, the researcher gives the new drug to one group of patients, experimental group, and a placebo to another group, control group. The blood pressure levels are then measured to see if there is a significant difference. Example 2. Education question. Does using multimedia tools in teaching improve students' test scores? Independent variable, teaching method, using multimedia tools versus traditional methods. Dependent variable, students' test scores. Explanation. One group of students is taught using multimedia tools, while another group is taught using traditional methods. After a certain period, both groups are tested, and their scores are compared to determine the effect of the teaching method. Example 3. Psychology. Research question. Does stress affect memory performance? Independent variable, level of stress, e.g. low, moderate, high. Dependent variable, memory performance, measured through recall tests. Explanation. Participants are exposed to different levels of stress through various tasks or scenarios. Afterwards, their memory performance is assessed through tests to observe the impact of stress. When forming a hypothesis, it's essential to clearly identify the independent and dependent variables to design the experiment properly. Example hypothesis: increasing the amount of study time will improve exam scores among high school students. Independent variable, study time, e.g. 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours per day. Dependent variable, exam scores of the students. Tips for identifying variables. 1. Ask what is being manipulated. The independent variable is what the researcher changes or controls. 2. Ask what is being measured. The dependent variable is what the researcher observes or measures in response to changes in the independent variable. 3. Look at the cause and effect relationship. Identify the presumed cause, independent, and effect, dependent. Experimental design considerations. Control variables. Other variables that could affect the dependent variable should be controlled or kept constant to ensure that the observed effect is due to the independent variable. Randomization. Assigning subjects randomly to different experimental conditions helps to eliminate bias and ensures that groups are comparable. In summary, understanding the roles of dependent and independent variables is fundamental in designing experiments and interpreting scientific research. The independent variable is what you manipulate, and the dependent variable is what you measure. Identifying and properly handling these variables helps ensure the validity and reliability of research findings.